For you,
Likewise.
what are the key implications of Suga's resignation?
Well, I think number one, the markets clearly do not like turnover at the top of Japan's leadership, which was frankly the case for many years leading up to the second Abe administration. And I think what the market liked about the second Abe administration was the fact that there was stability at the top, which enabled a lot of the reforms to happen beneath the surface. So the question for markets now is, will the successor to Prime Minister Suga drive an era of, another era of stability, or is it going to be instability all over again? I think that's going to be the near-term focus, at least for the markets.
Yeah, to your point, I remember seeing about 4 new prime ministers in my 5 years in Japan or so. So we all remember that period very well. So when it comes to monetary policy, fiscal policy, though, it's still the Liberal Democratic Party, right? Do you expect any big changes?
You're absolutely right. It's still going to be the same party. It will most likely maintain the current fiscal and monetary framework. Japan is going to print final Q2 GDP today, but even though the economy is on a gradual upswing, it's still lagging the recoveries that we're observing elsewhere in the world. Hence, we believe that the monetary and policy framework of easy policies on both fronts is likely to be maintained.
Kathy, the balance between protecting the economy and reining in COVID, clearly that was a balance that Prime Minister Suga was seen to have gotten wrong. What does the new leader need to do? Because you say stability is one thing, but clearly that stability needs to come with a change of tack when it comes to managing the pandemic.
Sure. So I think that while there had been some progress, for example, in the vaccination rollout, which frankly started extremely slowly a few months ago, has ramped up in recent months, yet Japan is still pretty much behind most other large nations around the world when it comes to percentage of the population that has been fully vaccinated. So to manage that process and accelerate that process will hopefully lead to a faster normalization of economic activity. But beyond the kind of near-term cyclical outlook, I think it's also important for market observers to focus on what is the new premier going to do about structural reforms, because I think you have to give credit a little bit to Suga-san for announcing A, a commitment to net zero carbon emissions, B, launching a digital agency. Now, these are great initiatives, but who and how are these going to be carried out? I think that's another focal point for markets ahead.
You know, one headline for the market prospects I saw, the Nikkei May 36,000 all returned to market malaise. So clearly there's some split views as to what the new leadership could bring. Look, to be fair, under Suga, we saw 30,000 level for the Nikkei, which Abe was not able to do. We saw a lot of market winners being created out of some of these selective reforms. What would you be looking out for in terms of a catalyst for upside?
Well, precisely what I mentioned earlier. So beyond the cyclical policies that the new government will be administering to the economy, we want to focus on what is the new administration going to bring to the table vis-a-vis concrete steps to realize a greener Japan, to realize a more digitally efficient Japan. Beyond that, I think there's also going to be ongoing focus of, is this new administration going to be keenly focused on corporate governance reforms, which I think was a very strong legacy of the Abe-Suga administrations. And that will be very, very critical, I think, for investors to decide, should I pay attention to Japan or not?
Kathy, your new fund is focusing on investing in growth to late-stage Japanese startups. Have you seen anything new in the innovation space during the Abe-Suga administration, and what changes could we expect in the next few years?
Absolutely. Precisely the reason why my partners and I started this fund is because we are seeing lots of opportunities cropping up as the next generation of entrepreneurs filled with talent, filled with technological capabilities, capital is available aplenty in this market. And we think that with our ESG focus, these companies that incorporate ESG into their core business strategies can actually outperform their peers. So we believe there are plenty of hidden gems in the startup ecosystem here in Japan. and we hope to back them and support them and hopefully turn some of them into unicorns in the future.